I made two models. This one is a fully functioning anatomical model of the heart, and this one simulates the electrical conduction and includes a fully functional ECG machine. They both can simulate a variety of arrhythmias, and this one can even simulate defibrillation. The first model I'll show you is the anatomical model. It's got independently working atria and ventricles. By flicking a few levers, I can adjust their respective rates and depth of contraction. First up is sinus rhythm. This is the normal condition of the heart. The atria, or the upper chambers of the heart, squeeze and push the blood into the ventricles. Then, shortly after that, the ventricles contract, pumping the blood into the lungs and the rest of the body. The next arrhythmia is atrial fibrillation. This is where the atria are fibrillating, which essentially just means they're quivering, not really pumping effectively. In this state, the ventricles are still contracting, so the body is still getting blood, though the rate can be variable due to the irregular signals from the atria. And finally, we have ventricular fibrillation. In this state, the ventricles are quivering themselves, and so no smooth, strong contractions are actually occurring, which means that no blood is actually pumping around the body, and so this is not compatible with life. The last kind of cool thing about this model is that it is anatomically accurate. There are a variety of arteries supplying the front and the sides of the heart, which match the real thing. The most prominent that you can see on the video is the left anterior descending, which is one of the most commonly occluded arteries in a heart attack. This next model I teased in the beginning is a bit more complicated. There's two models here. The left one shows the blood flow and uses pistons to provide a visual demonstration of the coordinated contractions, and the right shows the electrical activity of the heart. One thing you'll notice that the right and the left are flipped. This is because in medicine we think of it from the patient perspective, so the right atrium is actually on the left side of our screen. Inside the right atrium is the SA node, aka the sinoatrial node. You can think of this as essentially a clock that keeps the heart running. From this node, you can see the electricity flow from the starting point and across to the left atrium, with this electricity causing the initial contraction of the atria. The electricity then flows from the SA node to the AV node, aka the atrioventricular node. And I kind of think of this as a sort of gatekeeper node where it's only accepting the signals from the SA node when it itself is ready. So to demonstrate this, if I increase the rate of firing of the SA node, you'll see there's a lot of electricity happening at the top, but the bottom section remains nice, regular, and controlled in terms of its rate. So after the signal is accepted through the AV node, it will travel through the septum into the bundle of His, and then through the left and right bundles of the heart. It will then spread up through each side of the ventricles via the Purkinje fibers, and then this will lead to the ventricles contracting. As you can see in the pumping model here, the pattern of electrical flow is followed, with the atria contracting, pumping blood through the valves, and then shortly after, the ventricles themselves contract, squirting the blood through into the rest of the body. What I find to be the coolest part of this model is that it's all ran on relatively standard redstone components. So this orange section here is the simple clock, and this is what the SA node is ran off of. These signals are sent directly to the SA node, so they line up 1 to 1. I then send these signals across to this blue section, which is acting as the AV node in the circuit. It uses a simple pulse extender circuit to provide the cooling down period found in the AV node. When the signal comes in, the signal is stored here, and further signals are stopped from entering. The signal in the AV node is then sent to the ventricles to tell them to contract, and then once the AV node has cooled down enough, it will allow another signal in, and then the cycle will repeat itself. The last and arguably most technical part is that because the redstone matches up so accurately with the real heart, I can use these signals to make a functional ECG machine. The waves in this ECG machine actually match up directly with these models. So just for a very quick rundown of what you're seeing, there's three major components to an ECG. We label each component in the ECG as a letter of the alphabet. For some reason, we start at P. So this here is the P wave. The P wave is the first little blip you see on the monitor, and this represents the atria depolarizing or contracting. The next section is the QRS complex, which represents when the ventricles are depolarizing themselves, hence giving you your pulse. And finally, this is the T wave, which represents when the ventricles are repolarizing, which just means their charge is reset and they're ready for the next contraction. This is a quick sneak peek at the command block redstone in action at the back, so you can see how I got this all to show up on the monitor. So as you can see here, the beat lines up the heart models. I can simulate a variety of arrhythmias by changing some of the properties of the electrical conduction in the heart. So for example, I can make the SA node fire more rapidly. So if I do this, you'll see more P waves are shown on the monitor, which means the atria are trying to contract more often. I can also change the acceptance rate of the AV node. You'll see on the monitor here a 2-to-1 heart block. This is when 2 SA node pulses are required to lead to one single contraction of the heart. This model can also mimic defibrillation. I've got yet another electrical model here to simulate what ventricular fibrillation looks like, just because the electrical activity is so different from normal heart functioning that it requires its own model. I think of any fibrillatory arrhythmia as a variety of firing clocks at different rates and timings in a variety of places in the heart. You'll see that all these clocks are out of sync, and then this is what leads to the fibrillatory erratic activity in the heart. And something you'll notice with the model is that I've stopped the blood flowing when the erratic activity is going on, and a lack of blood flow means no pulse, aka you're dead. The erratic activity of the ventricles is actually picked up by the ECG too, so you'll see a lot of erratic waves rather than any crisp beats of a normal functioning heart. So to fix this, we need to supply a shock to the heart, with the aim of the shock being to synchronize the misfiring ventricles. So we charge up the defibrillator and deliver a shock. If the strength of the shock is just right, everything will be synchronized. If not, then we'll need to increase the strength of the shock and do it again.
Shock advised. Stand clear. Push to shock.
Okay, so that shock may be synchronized some portions of the heart, but not fully. So we'll have to try a higher strength here. Let's just power it up.
Shock advised.
And so as you can see here, all the parts of the ventricles are synchronized, and so the baseline electrical activity has been restored to a sinus rhythm. This also kind of demonstrates why asystole is considered non-shockable, because if there's no erratic activity to synchronize, it'll essentially just do nothing. Keep in mind the word defibrillation is defibrillating, so there needs to be fibrillation occurring to actually have any effect. So there's a variety of other parts of this model I could show you, but out of respect of your time, I'll leave it at that. If you made it this far, please like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what other medical things you'd like me to teach using Minecraft. I've got a few in the works already. If you've got any other questions about this build or how it works or how the heart works, let me know in the comments and then I'll try to answer them for you. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks, guys.